Yamandu Marang, Yuandu, Rod Towney. I'm a very proud Wiradjuri man, born and bred in the area, and I come from a big extended family of Aboriginal people within the Wiradjuri. My mother was off the Kalari River around Gilgandra, and father came off the Gilgandra mine mission outside Peak Hill. I was born in Wellington and grew up on the Wellington town common and the Nanima Reserve and attended school there, and up in Balladorum and Gilgandra, and I'm very proud to be black.
Who's some of your kinship, your mob?
I'm related to the Towneys, obviously, the Nadens, the Gilgandras, members of the RC clan, Ingrams. There's a whole range. If I keep going, I'll be here forever and a day talking about it.
Rod, you're familiar with Lynn Riley's kinship game. This video is to support aspects of that. Can you think of a story or an issue that you've come across in your lifetime that could relate to one of those aspects, whether it be education, health, law or social work, that you can share with us, that would teach non-Aboriginal people about who we are?
I remember in a school not far from here when I was in year 10, not many years ago, and I was sitting in the playground, and there were two white teachers who we looked up to as special people, like the mother. And they were talking about the Wiradjuri kids in the school, and they mentioned my name, and I was sitting opposite them near a tree and they couldn't see me. And the conversation went something like, Rod Towney, he's just like the rest of them. He will never succeed. He, like the rest of them, are very good at sport, but academically they will never get anywhere. Now, my mother and my elders always said to me, you are as good as or equal to anybody else in Australia or on this planet. Let that sink in and don't worry much about what white fellas are saying about you, because you will succeed. We haven't got any money to support you, but with all the love around, we can get you through. And I'll get emotional about thinking about my past life, particularly our elders, because many of them passed on now.
When you first heard them say that, what do you think? What was your immediate reaction?
It hurt me because I looked at particularly one of those ladies as a mother caring person, and I could have got up and told her to stick the school up where you tell people to stick things, or stay there with the words of, Mum, ring in my ears, you are as good as, and even better than a lot of people, but we just have to continue to prove ourselves, and we need to do that.
So listening to that story, we've got the concept that non-Aboriginal teachers have a low expectation of Aboriginal people. Do you think that's still the case these days?
It's very much still the case in many areas, because I still observe white teachers teaching Corey Murray students in this part of the world, and it seems to be that there's a bar there and we'll teach these kids up to this level, but that's as far as they'll go, because we know they won't get up there. It's not okay for educators to say to me that we have the greatest number of Aboriginal students in the senior high school in Dubbo, for example, but a lot of those kids are not getting the required results to get to university.
Yeah, okay.
A lot of the white people are. So there's something really missing in the school system today, and it needs to be changed. It's been like that for ever since probably Captain Cook came to the country, and they need to change it. To me, the education system is geared around middle to upper class people in this country. So a lot of our people are up against it. But again, we just need to put our right foot forward and continue on where we're going. From the story in the playground, a number of degrees later, I've taught in a number of schools within New South Wales. I've done some guest lecturing at university and TAFE, and I now manage Aboriginal programs which include resources and staff within the Western Institute of TAFE, from Lithgow to Broken Hill, from Grenfell right up to the Queensland border. And I love my job and I love the people I work with. It's been a battle at times, but we get there, but we get there together. I'm no different to any other Aboriginal person in Australia, just that we've had the good come our way, if you can call it that, to be able to help us to succeed. But because I have a number of degrees and I've been the Deputy Mayor of Dubbo City Council, this is my third term as a councillor on that council, I don't consider myself better than anyone else. To me, that equality rings true, and I've never ever lost that vision.
I know a lot of Aboriginal people asked you to run for council, to be there to have a voice for them. How does that make you feel?
When I was first asked to come from the elders in Dubbo, the Wiradjuri elders, our elders, and they said we need someone to run for council. And initially I said no, I don't want to do that. It's for someone else. And they kept coming. And this happened over probably a period of 6 months or so. And I said, well, Aunt, you need to help me get on there, which means you need to spread the word around. And I funded everything myself. And it was only because the elders said I'm there now and I'm still there. So at the end of this term, it'll be 12 years on council. And that took me to win a position on the New South Wales Local Government Executive. And that's a very privileged position in its own right. And being on council and being on the state executive, there's only Aboriginal person on it towards the end there. We have that access to ministers and premiers and others around the place. And that's good.
Yeah, because I know it was a big thing when you got onto council, because we'd never seen Aboriginal people on council before, besides Warren Mundine before you. That was a big thing to have a local person who knew our ways and how we fought and what achievements we wanted to gain within the community. So it was a big thing to have you in that spot and have a voice for us.
It was a big thing, and it's still a big thing. As I said, it's going to be 12 years for me soon, and I am mentoring a couple of other people at the moment, so I don't want to continue to go on. We need some fresh people in there now, and I'm asking all the Aboriginal people in Dubbo, whether they're Wiradjuri or not, to, one, if they're not on a roll, get on the roll and support the Aboriginal people who put their names up. So at least we'll have one in there. If they all vote for the one person, probably get two in there. Because you get a lot of non-Aboriginal.
Having that Aboriginal face there has kind of built that relationship a bit more with council that we didn't have before, because Aboriginal people didn't see themselves as having part in the council or having a right to vote and things like that. So that was a big thing for Aboriginal people, to have an Aboriginal person there to identify with, but also to have that. That was the start of building relationships between the Aboriginal people of Dubbo and Dubbo City Council.
You're right, and as a councillor you are required to put your hand up to go on different committees, like swimming pool committee or sail yard committee or sports committee, those sorts of things. And that's good, because you're mixing with all sorts of people with money, people that haven't got any money, politicians, and making decisions on behalf of all the ratepayers of Dubbo, but always in the forefront of my mind is our own people. How can we best improve the situation for them? So we have an Aboriginal employment policy down there. I remember the big debate that went around about flying the flag with Dubbo City Council. The mayor back then had his mailbox bombed because he was pushing it, but now it's flying. It's been flying now for a number of years and will continue to do so. So little things like that. And some of the names that we have around Dubbo, street names, things like that, which means a lot to me.
You talked about the mentoring, some Dubbo local people. Would you extend that to some of those smaller outlying areas like Wellington, Gilgandra?
I've tried to encourage our peoples all across the state, particularly when I was on the LGA and the State Land Council chairman, one, to get as many of our people on the roll as we can, and that we put names up for people to run for council. But we can go beyond that. We can have people in Parliament, like Linda Burney, for example, both federal and state, if only all of our people are on the roll and we had a lot more support. We need more of our own people in those positions because it's important for us. We want to go places. We need more money to do things. That's where we need to be.
And it's important to
particularly
have
in policy.
that vote and that say by voting.
That's right. We have 11 councillors, for example, on Dubbo City Council. My vote is equal to all the rest of them. And there have been times when it's been my vote that's either carried the vote or not carried the vote. And that's good. So you have the power in the vote to say.
When you were growing up, did you have any...
I'm still growing up.
Yeah, I know, you're still growing up. That's why you're so tall, you're still growing. When you were growing up, was there any stories or yarns about country that the old fellas used to tell you? Little yarns or...
Our Wiradjuri boundaries to me were really defined, where we need to be, and when we go outside country, we need to recognise and pay respect to other people around the areas. There are some areas where we are not to be or not to go there because of the taboo stuff, and there's other healing places that most of us have where we go to. Like there's a place where I go to where I want to sit down and be quiet and have dialogue with my maker, with our creator, because we need that peace and quiet and the time alone from time to time. Otherwise, if we don't, we've got to go mad. So all the things about the bush food, the tracking, the language, which is important to us, which we teach and take, and wherever else, we need to keep that alive and going. And I'm happy to be a part of that.
And them quiet places are you linked to country, because you can feel the old fellas in those spots. And when you go there, it is a healing. It's like the old fellas are around you and helping you and looking after you.
Yeah, I often feel that there's a presence around me from time to time, and that's good. And sometimes you get feelings that you shouldn't go there, but you go here. That direction, you're being directed to do something. Even to saying something and knowing that things will happen if you take this direction, not that direction. So we get into that spiritual realm, I reckon, about where we're at and what we can and can't do. It's like men's business and women's business as well. To me, all that's an education in its own right, and things that we often don't talk about.
Yeah.
You talked about your kinship and that to Baldor and Peak Hill, Wellington, Town Common. When you were smaller, did you travel to those places quite often, or were you isolated from those? Like a lot of our mob didn't get to go, keep those connections with those areas.
We did.
Do you have that opportunity to keep your kinship ties with those areas?
We did, and still do. But in those days, we didn't have cars and that, because Mum was a single mum. And we often travelled with Uncle and that had cars, and it was important for us, it was important for me and my brothers and sisters and cousins that we all knew who our relations are, our bloodlines are. And we were told that you can't marry this person or kiss this person or this because of, and that's been instilled in me from day one. And
see, in traditional times we would have known that, but
it's sad today that that's missing, and that's causing a lot of problems in our society.
You don't see as many of them bloodline people, mainly the women that rattle off the family tree and how you're related, who you're related to. You don't see that as much happening with our young ones. You see it with our age group, but you don't see it with the young ones. People telling them that enough.
I can go and talk to members of my family and extended family about it, but I can't impose my views on someone else outside that clan group, if you like. You can, if you know sometimes, because you get the intermarrying and all that's going on. And people don't realise there have been incidents in where people have married their own blood and didn't realise that they were related. And I think that's quite sad.
Yeah, it is.
The other thing I just wanted to mention is the importance of education. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have the education, and there are opportunities that came our way, the Aboriginal Identified courses, like the AREP program. 3 of us were in that time.
Yeah, but I was in a later one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Programs down at Milpera that kicked a lot of us up. The Mile Masters Languages program that we were involved in, and even some of the Aboriginal Identified positions that kicked it off in the past. Now, a number of our people have gone into mainstream courses, mainstream positions, and I was one of those where I worked in non-Aboriginal positions. That's fine, but it's good to work in your own positions and work for your own people, getting that message. So within this job...
As that, was there problems that you came up against, being an Aboriginal person, working in mainstream?
Yeah, there were. It's about trying to get the white people to understand how we feel and where we're coming from. We're blessed, I think, within my current job, to have our current Institute Director, Kate Baxter, who has that empathy for Aboriginal people within this part of the world. And this position, forget about me, but this position currently sits on the executive of the Institute in Orange, and that's where the real decisions are being made. And rather than recommend that, I currently am a part of that real decision making stuff. It's not pass stuff to the white fellas and say, we would like you to do this, that and the other, and they can take or leave it. No, I'm part of it. So what goes down, I'm a part of the real stuff.
Yeah, and that wouldn't have happened in the old days.
No.
So that's a big change.
It's a big change for us, but when I move from this place, I'd like to see that continue, but it's sadly missing in lots of other departments in federal and state and in schools at times, because we still have white fellas who think they know everything about us. And that's one of the reasons where governments go wrong, because they're still imposing their will on us. You know, you do this, principals do it. This is the way we'll do it. They listen, but we know that listen to us means listening, doing and carrying out what we're doing.
It's still that we know what's best for you attitude.
Yeah.
Instead of negotiating, it's we know what's best for you, we'll look after you, we'll put the things into place for you without the negotiation.
So if someone at the university is looking at this online and they hear you talking about education, what's the one sort of message that you'd like that non-Aboriginal person to take away from this interview?
That could help them.
With Aboriginal people and students?
Is to listen, that is, take on board what people are saying, try and understand what people are saying if you don't understand, because often things get lost in translation. Oh, that Aboriginal person said this, so it must mean this. And I can give examples of sitting in discussions with elders, with white people sitting around, and they've gone out and said, "I know that our fellow said this," and I said, "No, that wasn't the meaning. They didn't mean that at all." So you need to really listen and take on what people are saying, because if you want to dictate and tell people what to do and how to live their lives, you're just not going anywhere. And a lot of good departments, in my view, including universities and schools and the like, have stuffed up, and the people that's been hurt have been our people.
Mm.
You know?
And all through miscommunication.
Yeah. And thinking that because I'm white, I must be right. But it doesn't work like that. That's not being negative and racist, that's just how it is. I'm not a racist person, but I've been hurt down through the years, and a lot of those people have been hurt. But that's how we are. But we'll get there. It's gonna take a long time. I remember my work with the UN when I was chairman of the State Land Council. Paid to see the world a dozen times. That was good because you were able to meet and talk with heads of government around the world. Talk to them about Indigenous peoples around the globe and how we fit in with that, and how it's important that they listen to what we're saying and they carry out what we're saying. Not that tokenism stuff, not being paternalistic, and not talking down to people because they may not be as educated as you are. It's good that in my job, whether it's in school or TAFE, I can stand up, as you two can, and mix it with the best of them, and we can give it right back to them if they start getting a bit nasty. And we do. Because we're more than just being good at
Well, that's because we're put in that position where our elders and that expect us to have that voice for them or on their behalf.
Yeah, we just need to support. And give people a go as well.
Yeah.
Right? We can mentor Aboriginal people, but still put our own white mates in the jobs. Right? We can put teachers in positions because of our friends and stuff. But how about giving the Aboriginal folk a go? Trust people to do the job. I mean, really trust people to do the job. And if and when they fall, help people out like you can help anyone else around the way.
Yeah.
That's the way I see the world. I remember as a little boy living out of Nanima, which is outside Wellington, and the old people used to say that when you see that white man coming over the hill, and he normally has white clothes and white socks that come up around his knees, you just run for the river and hide or head for the hills, because he's the fellow that comes and pinches our kids. He'll take you away. And I remember that quite vividly today.
How old would you been when they
I was only a little fellow. I think I was probably 5, 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
We used to have our own all Aboriginal school on the Mish there. And I remember him. I can describe him today. He was sort of short, he was round, like fat, and his belly would hang over his shorts, and he wouldn't need a belt, but he used to wear a belt, and he'd have these big socks that had come up around his knees, and we knew straight away that he was one of these people that would come and steal people away.
Did you ever see him take anyone, or?
I've seen people. I just have sort of slight recollections of him coming, and I didn't see anyone in the car. I may have, but I can't remember that. But I remember one of our aunties, Connie, and my aunties, that was taken away to Gilgandra, and she dressed up in men's clothes and snuck out of the place and ended up at home. So she went all the way from Gilgandra to Peak Hill
That was a big thing in those days, to escape from Cootamundra Girls' Home.
She did.
Yeah.
And the story's still there. But I would say that most of us, that there are many families that were affected by our kids being stolen, or our families, or they would have been our uncles and aunties, grandmothers, stolen, taken away.
Yeah, taken away. The breaking down of families.
Yeah, but it's not a history it's not ancient history. It's living history.
Yeah.
I remember giving a lecture once, and there were a whole group of people in the room, and sitting in the middle there was a woman, an Aboriginal woman. I didn't know who she was, and I started talking about the stolen generation, and she started openly weeping, crying really loud, and there was another Aboriginal woman in the audience, and I asked the sister girl, could you take her outside and have a talk to her, because I felt it wasn't my place. Anyway, after that happened, she came back inside, because all these other people in the room were white fellas, and she said, I'm one of those people that Son's talking about, they call me Son, and I remember, I didn't grow up with my family, but I remember going home to my community, and I met my mother for the first time, my aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters, all the other nephews and that, and I met my mum for the first time, and within 12 months she was dead. Now, when she said that, I get emotional at the best time, but it broke me up, but it also cut a lot of the people up that were in the room. So we are talking about living history today that may not be, a lot of it's documented, yes, but it's still alive and well today.
Yeah, and a lot of those people, they feel those things as if they've just happened to them. It's not as if it happened in the past. And a lot of Aboriginal people, even with our language, they talk about it as if it's happening right now, at the present time. They don't talk about it as if it's in the past.
No. It's all alive. It's all alive and well. And our younger Aboriginal kids that have never grown up like we have, that are living in flash houses with the mod cons and all that.
Yeah.
When sometimes we talk to them about how we grew up, like no running water, no electricity, no nothing, dirt floors. We used to go down the river and cart water and buckets and have our fires outside. No television, no nothing. That's foreign to them.
Yeah.
Half on.
Yeah. Rod's just talking about one of your aunties that got taken away to Cootamundra Girls' Home and dressed up like a bloke to escape and get back.
She did too.
Yeah, and that would have been a big thing in those days.
No, but I didn't.
We didn't say names, but that would have been a big thing in those days. And I remember my mother, she got taken away when she was 14 and put out on a property, and she wasn't treated very well, and somehow she got messaged to my grandmother, Nanny Wright, and Nanny Wright and Grandfather Wright actually went out to the property and got her back. So that was another big thing in those days, because for an Aboriginal people to go and take another, to get their child back was a big thing as well. But, yeah.
See, the thing about segregation, like, I don't know if you two remember, but I remember in a picture theatre, outside, we would have roped off and all us blacks used to sit in the front. We had to sit in the front. And the shops that we weren't allowed, even in Dubbo here, there were some shops that wouldn't allow the Wiradjuri into the shops, you know.
Yeah. Dad was saying even with the dog tags, the exemption cards, he said even having those did not mean that a shopkeeper had to serve you. It said you could come off the mission and be allowed to walk around off the mission, but it still didn't mean people had to serve you, and it still meant if a white person asked you to do something, you virtually had to do it, or you could have got in trouble. They could have said things that you were doing bad things or that and gotten you in trouble and locked up.
Yeah. I remember in a town, again not far from here, where not very long ago when one fellow said, we'll go down and have a, he didn't, but I'll go down the pub and we'll get a lunch and stuff. And we walked in the front way, and he was that way tuned up that he said, no, we're not allowed to go in there. So he still thinks that way, even though we knew we can go, we've got to go around here and come in the back door.
Yeah.
And
that's still in his head.
Yeah.
I went to a pub in a town, country town, way out back, and they said, oh, this section's only for the white people. Aboriginal people drink out the back there.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
I went to this little town, and I went with another Aboriginal man. Went with me. We went to do some dance in the community, and we went into this little cafe, and there was 4 people behind the counter, and me and my friend were standing there waiting to be served, and each one took a turn of looking up and looking at us. And they'd look back down and they'd keep doing stuff, anything that they could do behind that counter rather than serve us. And I was just about to walk out when they must have thought, oh, these people aren't going to leave until we do serve them. And they ended up serving us, but my friend didn't pick it up, but I picked it up straight away that they did not really want to serve Aboriginal people in their shop, and they were hoping that we would just leave. So still... But
even today you walk into some of the shops, and you walk in, me walking as a Wiradjuri man, and there's people there that may have darker skin than me. They still want to go to the white people first, or me second, and leave the rest. And I say, no, the people there, they were there before me. They're my brothers or sisters. You serve them, and you do it now.
Yeah, you see that a lot in the shops, or they'll follow that Aboriginal person around the shop. I've got friends, their daughter's not Aboriginal, but she's married to an Aboriginal man, and her children are all Aboriginal. And when she goes into a shop, the shopkeepers or shop assistants are following her children around. Now, she goes off ahead as a non-Aboriginal person because she doesn't want them thinking her children are thieves and following her children around when they're just going in to buy stuff in their shop.
Michael and I went to a shop here on Sunday and we spent over $500. And just as I was walking out, they asked me could they look in my bag? But there were non-Aboriginal people that went before me. They didn't ask them.
Yeah, and they had bags?
Yeah. But I just spent $500 in the shop, and they asked me to have a look in my handbag.
Yeah.
I felt like saying, can I have my money back? You can have all this.
I show my bag straight up now because that saves them having to ask me, because I know they're going to ask me anyway. So I usually show my bag straight up.
Rod, I was talking to Auntie Dyer yesterday about the common, and she said how it used to be closer to Wellington, but not the common, the Mish, Nanima. But they've moved it 3 times, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and I said I had a feeling when I went out to Nanima last time, but this isn't right, this isn't the same, I don't remember it, I don't have the same feeling of it as I did when I was a child. And that was because it got moved.
And your vision changed.
And my vision changed. Yeah, well, the feeling of the land and the houses just didn't seem the same. And I didn't remember the houses being in a straight line like they were.
So we didn't have any interaction with, when I was growing up, we didn't have any interaction much. The only interaction we had with white people was with the school teacher, and where we used to go to the Coons Chinese gardens.
Yeah.
That was it. And until we started going to high school, where we were told not to congregate with ourselves, we had to try and mix, and we were told not to speak the way we talk, you know. I remember all them sorts of things. I think we all did. We had to mix with people.
Yeah.
But we couldn't because we weren't accepted a lot by people.
And most of the time when we was kids, we didn't really mix with non-Aboriginal people. We either went out to the mission in Dubbo here, Towney Reserve, or down to Wellington, or at the Towney, to different places on the mission, different missions, and we didn't really go into town very much, only to do the grocery shop and then straight back home. If Mum had someone, a non-Aboriginal person, coming to the door, she'd send us kids to get rid of them. She wouldn't answer the door. It was just too threatening, especially if she was in her old daggy clothes. If she was done up, then she would go to the door, because then she was setting, afraid that it was welfare or someone to come and take us kids away. But she'd always give us the killer look if we tried to get her to go to the door to talk to someone. Yeah.
No, I don't know. The whole education system needs to change. I don't think it will change, but it needs to change.
I think a lot, as a person that's worked in education, I don't think they take into perspective how Aboriginal people learn. They don't take in the processing time of Aboriginal people, where we like to have a talk about something and then we want to come back to it later on, and then we may even come back to it 2 or 3 weeks later and have another conversation on to build that knowledge up on it. They just want to do a topic, get it over and done with, and that's it, it's finished with. There's none of that ongoing talking process for Aboriginal people.
See these constructed interviews? They work, but they don't work. And when you talk to the elders and you just let them talk without asking questions all the time, because when I was little, we weren't allowed to ask questions. In my day, you knew your place and knew it well. But today, when I sit and talk to Uncle John and those sorts of things, you mind if I have a tape roll in? It's fine. And don't forget it's there sometimes, just talk, see? Otherwise you get nervous and stuff.
We like to put our point across through a story to tell them. And it'll take time to tell that story, and it's important to let them take that time.
Back to the point about losing things in translations. I had a Wilmaringa, and we were 2 white fellas in the car, and we were talking to some old fellas, 2 old fellas out there. Started on my trip back to Brewarrina, and they were talking about us, and they said, that old fella meant this and that. And I said, well, you fellas, what you heard and what they said is totally different. They didn't mean them things at all. And I had to explain the full meaning, what the 2 other ones were talking about. Because they listened all right, and they tried to take it in. But the way that they translated what they were saying was totally different. Yeah. So, and that's where sometimes government departmental people get stuffed up, because they hear things and they go and say, oh, we'll do this, and things don't work.
There's still that language barrier. They don't treat Aboriginal people, their Aboriginal English and Aboriginal language as a language other than English that should be recognised, and helping Aboriginal people more in that adjustment from home to school. And if a child's quiet because their child's trying to interpret where the teacher's coming from, or what's that teacher up to, and what does the teacher really want?
Do you have any stories, Rob? Willie Wagtail, Hairy Man? Any of those stories that our Larnish used to tell you? Or?
The old Wiradjuri. Yeah. We all know, and it seems to be a national belief that when you see them around, it's bad news stuff, or sad news, something's going to go wrong. Those sorts of things out of Ballador, the Yeri men, little fellas.
Michael, where he's from, it's the Crow.
Crow, is it? What, the same sort? Yeah.
You know, the 1 crow bring the message, 2 means something else, 3 means something else.
The min lights, like side of those, regardless of white people, philosophers, scientists say about it. I've experienced that firsthand.
My Auntie June said she's seen them and they didn't actually follow, actually took her and on this thing before the car ended up dying in the spot. But she couldn't turn the wheel or anything, she said, when those lights were taken up.
So I remember growing up, Nan used to tell us not to go places because the hairy man's there, or down the river Bidjuan get you.
Yeah. We just thought you might have had a story that connected you to country, you know. Like we got the story on Devil's Hole here that I told in one of the interviews that we have.
One thing that we
Must
could
be
probably
Wellington.
talk about, Rod, is Nan and Grandf out on the common when they used to hold the dances. You old enough then?
I was sort of not.
I reckon Nan and Grand's house was that big that people used to travel from Orange and all over to come to the dances. They'd be on the accordions or the piano or whatever.
My Uncle Ted Weldon played the accordion, the button accordion for people at the dances, and I still have his button accordion that he used to play.
Years back they used to travel by horse and safety to there, and people from all over would come
because
to it.
the Dubbo mob would go over to Willow and the Willow mob would come back, and sometimes they'd go over to Peak Hill. So they still went to them places that we are travelling around now.
Did you help build a church?
No, it was full my day.
And you?
But you used to be one of our Sunday school teachers when we were little. And
I remember we used to come.
I remember going around on church services with Nan and them.
I remember we used to come from Balladon to Dubbo, Sunday school there with our white fella called Uncle John, Coral Pick and all that. She'd tell you the story. How we stand up real neat singing up with the Dubbo mob. White, grey Sanchez, holes in the ends, though, toes sticking out, black shoelaces. They were good. They were good times.
What do you remember about Nanima School? Going there?
Mr. Carl was our teacher back then.
He's a nice
I remember Miss Brody worked with him for a while.
Did you go to the high school out there?
We'd win all the march pass and all that sort of stuff. And we'd have cousins of ours, Winnie and Pauline and all, and they were gifted runners and stuff. They'd win everything, go to state and stuff like that.
What was the difference in going from the primary school on the Mish into Wellington to the high school?
It was a whole new experience because, as I said earlier, we didn't mix with white people. And we were told not to, because we'd find comfort with one another.
Yeah.
And we were told, you know, we had to mix, we couldn't talk as we did, and we need to do this and do that. That was all
So
wrong.
you weren't allowed to get around as a group at the school?
No, we weren't. And even sit, like, there were times when you sit down, you sit over and that sort of stuff. That was all we saw.
So a couple of them told me that when they were going to the high school, they were only allowed to go to 1E, 2E, and told to leave that they wouldn't succeed. They call it year 7, year 8 now. Back then it was first form, second form.
Yeah.
But that divided line about, and I know it happens. We'll only teach these Aboriginal kids up to this level, because that's all they can.
Low expectations,
That's it. So if you have the low expectations, well.
See, Nan didn't go to high school. She pulled out to go to work.
Yeah.
She only went as far as 6th class.
Yeah. Dad
Then she
said
had to go to work.
he didn't go to, he only went to 3rd class, I think, Dad said.
Well, a lot didn't even go to school.
Yeah.
Didn't go to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, there's lots of stories. There's some I would prefer not to talk about. But yeah, some scary. But
See,
my life's been blessed, I think.
when did you leave Wellington?
We're sort of back and forth because Mum moved from Gilgandra to Balladon and Wellington and stuff. So We were living on Nanima then, at the high school, because I was at school with Ian O'Brien. I think it was
Olympics.
I was a swimmer there. And then we went up to back and forth to Gil. My earliest recollections of life was at Gilgandra, over the river, up the pines, that way further pines, the pines this side. After the flood came down. I don't remember the flood, but I remember grandfather and Aiden, they all lived in the scrub there near the racecourse. That to me was, they were the pines, and I remember things. There. So I remember the old, when they used to bring drinks around in the horse and sulky with sawdust.
With sawdust?
Yeah, sawdust. And the drinks are in sawdust. And they bring up the big chunks of ice that sell ice, and they bring around the old loaves of bread in the back of a horse and buggy thing. I remember that.
Yeah.
Go and say, geez, you must be old.
Gee, you must be old.
I remember.
Yeah.
And the fruit.
So I remember out on the common, Grandpa worked out at Coom's Market Garden, Nan cooked in the shearing sheds. So we'd always get veggies and that from Coons. And you'd always either have fish, or
fish
some meat from the farmers. So, and we shared it out on the common. But as soon as you move into town...
But you'd always had plenty of rabbit out that way.
Oh, I'm over rabbit.
Because we'd always go out there to Uncle Billy Noel and get rabbits. And
Uncle Mallow used to take us up mushrooming. I'm sick of mushrooms.
You're still going on about the mushrooms.
I still love my baked beans though.
Yeah.
But see, in the scrub, Old Dawn Scrub, we got everything. The ruse, the snakes, the googers.
Kerry Mallow, the googer, she eats it in her lips well. That's the first time I've seen an Aboriginal fellow allergic to go out.
Oh, true.